Rugby Podcast. Fratelli the Rugby Podcast. The Italian 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 Rugby Podcast.
E Mike, the Italian Rugby Podcast, Fratelli di Rugby Podcast. That's great, but it's better when we chat sometimes, right? It happens to chat about rugby here. I cannot hear you. Your audio. Your audio is
We'll take two live. Mate, I was going to say, people probably start listening to the podcast just for the intro now. That was
The Italian Rugby Podcast.
flary as hell, my friend. Flary as hell.
The Italian Rugby Podcast.
Perfect. It's like a goal celebration now in FIFA. Every time we do watch it.
Perfect for like FIFA 98, World Cup 98.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. I mean, a lot to talk about, mate. I think this week, even just outside of the peripherals next week, we've got some big games coming up for both sides. So, do you want to jump in, Otto?
Absolutely, and I think we should start from let's say the bad result of the week. Then we move to Benetton, and we have some news talking about November next summer, because we're gonna really battle somebody in their house, in their home, in their lands, maybe in altitude, but we're gonna speak about this later. And some rugby news, rugby transfers. Something seems really close to the end of a really long story, and we talk about Varney, but we're gonna talk about this later. Let's just dive into the Zebre Glasgow Warriors game, Glasgow home.
Yeah.
Only one penalty scored by the Zebre. So many good stuff by Glasgow. Let's say as usual, because we saw them playing Franco Smith team in that way the full season, last maybe 2 seasons.
Yeah.
URC contenders, they smash Zebre on the scoreboard.
Yeah. It's to be honest with you, like, I think Zebre have wins in them, but the difference in quality from those who are competing at the top of the URC table and those even from just outside the playoffs, completely different standard at the moment. It's a very competitive league, right? Obviously, because Zebre managed to beat Munster a few weeks back. But when a team has got a bit of a roll on, and just Franco Smith is a good coach. He's a good coach. You have to give him credit. He is a very, very good coach. So it's tough.
Who was the best player on the field for you? Who shined the most? For Zebre or just both?
Yeah. To be honest with you,
there were a couple of good efforts by.
I've got to be honest. Just because he didn't I thought he was going to be a weak link. I thought Carlo had a really good game. Just because he didn't expect him there, right?
Makes sense.
I think, I'm trying to think who. You've clearly got someone in mind. You go ahead.
Man, not that much. Maybe Rory Darge. I like the way he played this game for them. For Zebre was hard to find a good one. For me, Ligada did some really well stuff, but then a couple of not really well decisions, let's say. The tackle, another closing the gap, leaving space behind. But I don't know, maybe somebody in the chat knows more and has more other ideas about it, but really hard this week to pick. Even if there were some let's say, some good games. Andriani did well. Andriani, after many months, can be one of the positive from this game, but it's still hard, and see how things will change soon, because Lions is going to be another tough one, as every game for Zebre.
I've got a question for you, Otto, specifically about Zebre. So I think I've probably spoken ad nauseum about some of the areas of improvement I think, that Zebre can focus on, the low-hanging fruit. Where do you think the quickest change that they can implement is for them to maybe sort of start, being more competitive both in attack and defense? Like, what do you think the quickest low-hanging fruit is for them?
Look,
from your eye?
For me, we have to try to find centers that they are able to put the team on the front foot, to find that mini breaks that allow to play fast with the rest of the team. When they can find really strong carries as Licata does, but maybe we need another Licata in the field to create that momentum in attack, and not losing at least, I don't know, 25% of the opportunity, because we need to get more points from the amount. For the quantity, you need more quality into the in the outcome from the possession in attack. That's
You know what the irony is, Otto? I think we spoke. I think this brings back memories from last season that we spoke about on the podcast, and obviously we were hopeful about Polledri. We were hopeful, and then you think now, like, Vincent would be a perfect player for Zebre, wouldn't he? Like, obviously he's doing well at Exeter, and but in terms of the profile of the person that you just described, someone who's destructive going forward, obviously he's incredibly busy. Do you think we're in a position where, we need to be looking slightly more seriously at either, players in Serie A Elite who could potentially be those gain line gainers, or do you think it's maybe something where we need a smarter sort of process of getting some foreign talent in to really sort of represent?
On that kind of work, I'm more interested in see how the things will develop in the next couple of years, not only in Zebre but also Benetton with locks. That for me is key, even for them, because they have good carriers, not that strong carriers maybe in some situation, but Licata, Ferrari, Bianchi, Ruggeri, they can do some kind of work.
It's interesting you bring this up as well, because there's one player that you've been highlighting for ages, but I was doing I went through the notes for our Patreon from last week on Canali, considering how dominant the Stormers were. 14 completed tackles. No, Ruggeri was 15. 12 completed tackles, 2 turnovers from Canali. Like, he doesn't look out of place. He doesn't look out of place at this level. So the props, the locks, particularly tight head prop lock, I think is probably something that there's low hanging fruit there. You're probably right.
This looks good. Now we want to see more consistency from the pair of locks. We saw maybe more Zamboni and Canali, because we are expecting that to be maybe the starting every week. We want to see them. So, but that is on attack, right? You want really strong carriers, suckers of players. You want some a magnet for the defenders to go there, to be 3. That work that Seb Negri does really well. That kind, pushing are able to go over the
rugby league prop.
Sometimes you need more. Maybe you're waiting more from Nocera to move in, stepping in that kind of big shoes that has to be the carrier that put together players. Hopefully without not those many injuries that we knew he's been unlucky, prone. I don't know how to tell you, but that is one. In defense, finding the and that probably experience that they have to put more in defense, trying to stop momentum, because that is really hard when they scramble, and then seems even kind of like the team before Quesada for the national team, no?
Passive,
was that kind of panic. You don't want that. You want to keep pushing hard. In some areas, sometimes we saw a really good defense even there, which usually was inside the 22, but now getting harder. So those are the big challenges. If you have to swipe with something magic, like Magic Wound, I want 100% on set piece, on everything, right? Set piece, 100%, you're good with that.
Yeah, I mean, if Zebre had 100% set piece, I think that would have been a lot more competitive. It's funny you say that. So, like, if you take back all of the, like, peel back rugby union, keep peeling it back until it's like rugby league. What you described is a core action for a prop, like just tie up as many defenders, find your front, play the ball quickly, make sure that the players are offside, create the space, right? So what you're describing is not even just, league, it's just rugby to its core. So finding that gain line is something that I think just Italian rugby in general, other than, like I said, Polledri was a beast when he was at Gloucester. Like, he was the gain line, right? Like, he was like, he owned the gain line.
Pushing players around, like we saw doing it. Licata did it a couple of weeks ago, bumping players away.
Yeah. Like throwing the hand off, like turning back, and putting pressure on play, like just aggressive, like pure like ball of aggression. It's a shame, obviously. Like, I think he's going to be a player that just Italian rugby in general probably going to miss for a little bit until we find someone like that.
One of the biggest what if.
Oh, it's not even what ifs. We know how good he was. Like, he obviously, bearing in mind we played one game less, and I think one of the games was against South Africa under Conor O'Shea. He holds the world record for most defenders beaten against those teams that we were playing. It's insane. Like,
soft teams, right?
Mate, when was the last time you saw 8 defenders beaten against South Africa? Genuinely. I can't remember.
We should dig into it and check, but it's hard.
It's not going to happen.
I agree.
It's not going to. He was just a beast. He was a beast. It's never going to happen. So yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Talking about South Africa next week, Lions, Zebre Lions.
It gets easier, doesn't it?
Man, a tricky game. Rian is going to be so happy for if the Lions keep being unbeaten, because he's one of those 3 teams unbeaten until now. Hopefully, the stats will switch soon. But
next week.
But I like Lions in general.
Yeah. You said this last week. You're
it's an interesting team because they keep like loyal to their style. The way they have young players, Venter, Noamba, Quanorn, really good players. There will be Richard Kriel, former Zebre, in the team, and probably in the squad, I guess, too, this week. He knows the team.
I think it's funny, right, that obviously if you look at like the fixtures that Zebre have had, they had like this season's been like just throwing them into the fire. Obviously, they got that win against Munster, but conceivably, we probably were expecting to be like, 5 losses from 5 games coming into this week, right? But
yeah, absolutely. Maybe if we think maybe more, they did well at the end until now. We maybe want more bonus point because we know how little they can be in attack. Probably that is the missing since last year, right? Little bit keep staying close so you can get also the defensive bonus. But yeah, a couple of games more tight would be great. Maybe it's this week. Is it still home, which is something positive, but it's hard because they grew up so fast, the Lions, from last year, right?
Yeah. Well, Zebre have been playing catch up, but listen, like it's 80 minutes of a game. Like who knows what can happen. We saw, how quickly a game can change with Benetton and Glasgow 2 weeks ago, when a card makes all the difference as well. So the one thing that needs to change is, like you said, set piece percentage needs to go up, full stop, right? All set piece, like stupid penalties, like the break foot penalties that we were conceding, needs to stop. The early engagements need to stop. Like those were the ones which were frustrating to me, because the timings
ask for the defense or attack for the opposition, right?
Yeah,
a free ticket.
It's just we're letting you off the hook, constantly just letting people off the, and it wasn't like they were suffering terribly in the scrum. Like it was when we actually managed to complete a scrum, they weren't like going backwards. It was very static. Like there was occasions where they got some penalties because of collapse scrum. Fine, if you're going to give a penalty away for collapsing it, fine, at least you're trying. But if it's an early engagement, if it's removing a break foot because you're not bearing your weight accurate, all of those little things, that just needs to change. It needs to go, eradicate from the game. But I genuinely think if they manage to increase just even their line out, and like I said, the small things at set piece, that's like they're probably in that game. They probably score a couple of tries because they're not conceding in the in the wrong areas in attack. Who knows, mate? Who knows? Different game.
That's it. Talking about Zebre, Viadana with the permit players played against Fiamme Oro, and they won with man of the match Locatelli. Talking about back rowers, strong carriers and stuff like that. So yep, something to analyze, to see, because next week they keep playing. So I'm wondering where is going to be Locatelli for the next weeks, because he said I want to be the best with Viadana to reach the Zebre. So wonder.
It's interesting you said that. I'm going to quickly just send you something in the chat so you can see.
Let's see.
Here we go. See there, right? It's from last week, because
okay. Yep. The
last bit, right? If Zebre don't do something quickly with Locatelli, I can definitely see him getting picked up. Genuinely think he'd be perfect for like a Premiership side. Absolutely perfect.
So shall we put third angle of the pitch? I will try to put it on.
Just a snippet. If you guys are interested in the player ratings for the Patreon, I've just sent his Locatelli's from last week. I could see someone like Newcastle quite comfortably coming and picking him up, and I could see him being like a standout player for them as well.
With the last part, staying on for the entire length of the pitch, the young man will catch the eyes of the people abroad. That we should try to sign him as soon as possible, and that's true, because it's really strong young player that in Viadana, which is a great team, great club, great coach too, young coach, great, with a lot of influence by the Argentinians.
Yeah, you were saying, yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Fernandez was there. Then there was Urdaneta. So there is some methodology, know-how really well shared by the Argentinians, which is really good. Lorenzo, ciao, benvenuto.
Ciao, Lorenzo.
Okay, so Zebre done for now. To see more, any change you're expecting for next game? Keeping the rate on. Keeping Fratelli on, some change players you want to see back. Some ideas.
Yeah, I think Monte Mauri obviously only got not that much time the week before. I think if you're going to swap, maybe Monte Mauri, maybe we give Fratelli a break. Fratelli's been brilliant. Obviously, he carries a lot, and
most carries of the whole URC.
Yeah, so If we're going to do that, mate, I think let's give him a break because realistically, Zebre have to be slightly more. They need to be slightly more targeted with who they should be bringing into the team for which games. So, no disrespect, they can beat anyone on their day, as we know because of obviously Munster. That said, I think it's good to try and sort of keep players fresh for games where you're more likely to win than a rampant Lions team.
It is. Mike, shall we move to the joy of the week, of the weekend? Yeah, we should talk about Monego, but before moving to Monego, it's really important to remind everybody that, of course, if you want to follow us, drop us a like, listen us on Spotify, and all the good stuff that you can expect. Nothing else, nothing more, right?
Give us a like. It all helps, guys. So if you want to hear more and you want Italian rugby to get on a higher plane than it already is, then just help us out because we're trying to speak.
The Italian Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast.
And now you have also this nice music. Maybe we should let him download it, right?
Oh, mate, yeah. People stop listening to us. Just listen to the intro. That's
we can win on Spotify in that way, right?
Nice.
The victory is there. Talking about that, looking back in training, back in the team, Morisi probably back in anyway. Morisi, yes. See, because we were talking about how important it has to good pair of centers. I want to see them together because we need that kind of physicality, that knowledge, that experience by those
gain line.
Yeah,
the gain line.
The gain line. We need meters. We need meters and tackles. So those two guys are really well combined.
Yeah. And obviously, Lukin had been, quite impressing. Like with the amount that he was developing his game prior to his injury, even a couple of seasons ago. So let's see how much he's retained and let's see what he can do ball in hand because he's needed, right?
And he's a math guy, so he's better than me in a lot of other stuff too. Not only rugby, which is great. Degree in math.
It's like what's it called? The Hangover, where he's like got all of the thing. He's seeing lines when the ball's getting kicked. He's just seeing trigonometry everywhere.
If I start calculating the degree of the ball with the wind, all this stuff like that,
it just goes like the humidity means that you have to aim slightly to the right. All right, it's just going up to the boys, letting them know.
Should put my weight on this. Knee more than
Lorenzo's got a good question.
Cantrulla take a spot for Italy. Oh yep. Oh yeah. This Trulla can be in the national team. Maybe will not play, but he can be in the squad, the 33, 40-man squad. Yes, because he deserves the way he is. He's a better player, better man. Seems grow in a really positive way.
Was. For sure. He's grown as a player, but then also it's really tough because Monty is having a great season. Capuazzo's having a great season. And then if you're going to play those two, it means that you need slightly more structured fullback potentially. And okay, who then would you look at? Would you potentially play Trulla at fullback? That's a really good question. Who would you play as fullback? Capuazzo at fullback?
Depends. Man, the point is that for now, my only player ready to actually two are maybe Yone Capuazzo at the moment, with Odogu playing much better. Gallagher, we saw him play, we know what he can do, but not that much more than that. And Trulla is playing consistently in and out with a different, not that strong team. So it makes you thinking like he can be even better than that, because if he's playing that way and it's really well balanced in
football.
the team, he can be much better in another team with other chances. Something that happened many times to a player that is good in a better team, in a strongest team.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think though, and this is from my opinion, I don't have any facts here, but Italy always tend to play slightly better with a playmaking fullback in my eyes. So like if Capuozzo's going at fullback, he's often like wrapping around second receiver, like he's been busy, right? He's going around. When Alan was playing as well, like I just feel like we play slightly better.
But also it will be like the shadow of Garbisi, right? Because Brex will gonna pick this ball and then he's gonna be the axis with those two. And he knows how to attack really
it's
well.
also like with Pani, when we spoke to him as well, he said that that's a part of his game that he was actively trying to develop, like the playmaking side.
Exactly.
And that's got to come from the top. Like obviously he didn't say that, and I'm reading between the lines, but that's got to come from higher up, that they want
because
him to be
the
more
instinct of attacking is, you are a fullback, you have to do that, but you have to be also the guy that has to know when to stop, how to organize, how to speak in the field, right?
And that's where Gallagher potentially, I think, has a little bit of a disadvantage, right?
He is a guy that knows how to organize and spoke since the first minute came into the game.
I mean, like, I don't know how competent his Italian is right now. Hey, listen, he might be fluent. I don't know. But what I'm saying is,
I'm gonna go on the. Who cares? Because if
everyone speaks
Odogu speaks English, come on.
That's true. Actually, that's true. I didn't think about that.
I mean, if you play in a back three with Lainag or Odogu or Ioane.
I wonder how good Trulla's English is, though. Now we're going into the weeds.
He likes hip hop. He likes rap.
Oh,
he's
fun.
Gang.
Just constant listening to trap. He's fun.
I should start doing some music for the players too. That's what I should do.
Rude not to, mate. Rude not to.
Well, don't forget
when we next get someone on,
sign on our Patreon so I can create more music for everything.
Nice. And then we can have the new intros because of Otto.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want an intro, Mike, for every morning, like I am Mike, I can do it, no problem. Anyway,
only with the Patreon help, though, mate. So.
Right. One for Roberto, one for Alex, and stuff like that. Benetton, what a great game, right?
Yeah.
What you want to see is a game like that every week, because stunning first half.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone was a little bit shocked in terms of how well Benetton managed to capitalize on the opportunities that were afforded to them. And I think we normally see that sort of game against Italian teams, if you know what I mean, like where build-up plays really well, really good, then a turnover and bam, it's done. Whereas, one thing that I think resonated quite nicely with Benetton, obviously sharing the pre-match talk afterwards, is commit. Like, make sure you commit. Whatever you do, commit. And you could see that on the counter-attack, everyone committed. And like a lot of the good stuff came through Rhino, but also like the kicks, like Brex was sensational. Let's be honest, right? I watched him closely. He was, as we'd expect.
Brex we know, right?
Yeah, no, just he's consistent at that level now. I think like everyone has their bad days, full stop, and I'm sure he's due one soon. But consistently, we know what Brex can do, and we know he does it well.
Another player that step up, Mike, after a lot of criticism by me, Umaga.
Mate, it's brilliant. He was brilliant. So for me, I think he owned it. He owned it, and also like I'm all for him like taking his like hat off and doing his hair up at the start of every kick.
I love that. I can do the same.
Yeah. Clearly, the process is working. So long may it continue. He played really well, mate. He played really, really well. I really liked Paolo as well. Like you were talking about gain line, Paolo was always looking to. He wasn't looking for space, was he? He knew his role in that position. So, man. All good.
Couple of stuff that show up, like how was
Buonasera, Nicholas.
how was strong Benetton pushing all the opportunity until the points is number of tackle, 204 by Benetton, 93 by the Sharks. And then if we see the territory and possession, 61% Shark and territory 69% Sharks. Turnover ones 7 by Benetton, 1 by the Sharks.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Amazing.
But
Yes,
that's also, like I said, that's almost like seeing any Six Nations game stats of Italy when we've lost, right? Like, we may be in the right areas, we may be playing nice ball, but they take our breakdown, we don't protect the ball well, turnover ball, score try. Like, Mendy was sensational, right? Like that, just everyone stunning. So
I will break down the try for the Patreon this week about some good stuff, but I'm gonna highlight something for everybody here, then sign to the Patreon and watch it properly. For the try when oh my god, who scored the second try? I have all the scene in front of me, but I don't remember who scored at the end because the try was fantastic. My God, Smith scored the first try.
The first try.
The second try after Odogu. Odogu scored the one.
Odogu scored the first, in the corner.
Smith.
Yeah.
The hands of where we saw running in the right line Izagor.
And he got the offload. That was beautiful. He tied off, so 3.
Okay, but before of that, the hands of Lamaro.
I didn't pay attention.
And look how Lamaro give the pass and soak in his defender. The defender outside goes on the flat option, and the ball goes back on the pull pass. A pass that is fantastic. One solid move without double movement, leaving a second more or less, nothing. Perfect. Boom. Ball behind, and then the defense come up strong, but they were the players out because there was Ruzza and the rest. But
Statman's got eyes, guys. He's got eyes.
That was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. But even the kick retention was good because they were able to retain three kicks this game. At the beginning, I was a little bit worried because the Sharks start really well, and they gained like 3-4 times the ball. At the end, they ended up with 5 kick retained, but then Benetton was able to do more. But they played the right rugby in the right areas without mistakes.
Wait, can we talk about something though, right? And this is slightly off topic because obviously the rugby is great and more. But did you watch the commentary in English?
I usually watch it without commentary because I watch it after or in other situations. So usually I don't have audio in my ears when I listen.
Okay, good. All right. Well, you do good stuff. Then you do you stay and don't.
I don't get mad at the commentators. No, I can't.
No, that's fine. But again, it's nice to be in that position, right? Where like it was just wonderful in terms of how it was played. So so a couple of points that I think are worth mentioning, or a couple of questions that I have for you. First one, thoughts on Garbisino this game?
Who?
I got mixed bag personally, so like you can say what you want. For me, it was
it's the same. I saw some really smart moment of him, even leadership in the field that I like it. Another moment that I always have that why it's happening now.
Kick related?
How you see the kicking?
The kicking wasn't contestable, even though they managed to retain
too
kicks.
Long.
They weren't
too long.
Yeah, too long.
Right?
But what I will say, and this is, I have to eat my words, right? I have to eat my medicine from 2 weeks ago. I said there's certain combinations of halfbacks that don't work. What do I know about the game? I fucking know nothing, clearly, because
No,
like
no,
Umaga and
like
him
you
played.
talking about Umaga. I spoke in a way about Umaga. You speak about another one about him.
Well, I said both, right? I said like clearly you need a more experienced. I said more experienced fly half with a less experienced scrum half or whatever. What do I know about this? Like clearly they listen to us and they're just like, do what we want.
No, it's good like that. Talking about 9, Mike. Thank you for the book. Couple of news. First of all, Uren that wasn't on the last year of contract is being renewed until 2028.
Long time.
Long term. I think probably Umaga will be another one to be renewed. I guess like those players they will be there and around. You need those kind of players. So yes, because at the end, since Uren arrived, he did well. He had some shadow on a couple of games, but it's almost like natural, biologically normal to have those kind of low up and downs sometimes, not always, because if not it's well related to the performance and probably you should do more. So that is
quick question. Do you think he gets the long contract, because it is a long contract by any standard, had Didi stayed? Do you think there's probably a bit where they managed to free up some money, or like what do you think sort of the driver is there?
Man, still for me, the way as Duvenage didn't become a Centurion, it hurts.
Yeah,
because
for sure, he deserved
so
it.
much in the last years for Benetton. So a little bit like a bitter end, let's say, for him. So maybe if he was there, probably it was different. The contract, I guess.
Yeah. Also, talking about a couple of players that probably are worth mentioning. I was really impressed with the young boy. I was going to say the young boys at prop.
Avaca,
Spagnolo, like even Gallerini when he came on, I thought he was busy. I think he needs to get used to the game, the speed of the game, though. Like clearly, he's
debut at the end like that, right? Home.
He's lost so much weight, though.
Yes,
he looks
athletic.
He's starting. For sure. He's starting to look more like a modern prop, whereas like in under 20s, he looked like a traditional old tight head. Now he's looking more like a Fisco, like slightly more leaner, and that's probably the direction that they're pushing him, which is going to be interesting to see because he's tall as well.
And we saw Bernasconi back too, which was interesting.
Yeah.
See him. And I'm wondering when Crevi will be available, because last week we didn't mention it once, Crevi. Listen in the podcast, but I think it's gonna be soon, or maybe be right just before. Probably he will play a game before the November internationals, and then he's gonna get really, really in shape just for the games after.
Well, that what you just said was what I was going to say. I know Bortolami is big on the fitness tests, and if they don't hit a certain fitness and he's been out the game for a while, in terms of like the club game.
So Crevi debut against Zebre, December.
Makes sense, doesn't it? I actually thought, like, minus obviously the odd, the odd mistake. I thought Miley had a really good game. I thought it was one of his better games, to be honest.
Yes, let's say it was really hard to find a bad player this week.
Yeah,
if we have to mention maybe the red for Favoretto, if I have to mention something that went wrong.
I mean, it's a yellow, but like, has it been cited?
I have no idea, but let's say the yellow, red, whatever it was, but that probably the only stain in a really positive.
I agree.
Performance by everyone.
I really liked one set piece that we saw, one set piece work at line out where Maile came like wide arc. I don't know if first half wide arc, and he was looking for the pop inside. So what they were trying to do is the same move as what happened to, was it Zebre 2 weeks ago against Stormers, even though that was off the maul. it was faked maul. He actually ran with the ball and he was trying to pop inside, but like I can't remember who was
Look at
his
the line.
man. Yeah, I can't remember who was inside, but that was on. If had that had gone, whoever was behind, had they have gotten that ball,
yeah, trailing
mate,
there
that was
hard.
beautiful. Like I love set pieces like that, like where you can see what they're trying to do. If had that have gone, that was line break easy. So yeah, mate, good. More of the same.
Yeah. Next week against Dragons away, a good test.
Yes.
We'll see not a lot of changes in the team because they need 5 points. We want 5 points too.
I might try and go to that game actually. I'll need to see what I'm doing next week. Might try and have a little.
It's a game that you can try to fight. If this is the mindset, as you enter against Sharks, you enter in the same way against Dragons, it's easy. If not, the trick is in your mind, first of all, not in the... Of course, you have the opposition, but Benetton can do everything every time. So hopefully that mindset that you want to smash and win a game where Dragons can kick a lot, get the points. Maybe it's windy, maybe it's rainy. Who cares? We need those 5 points for the race for the playoff during the season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a must-win game. It's a must-win game. I think I said that about Benetton this week as well. Last week, sorry, it's a must-win game. And in a weird sense, I think, you know, every game, other than obviously the European games, are must-win for Benetton. At least, you know,
if you want to, because if you want to certify your status as a playoff contender, and one day you're gonna be a URC contender, URC winner, you need to like win games for 2-3 seasons. Every game, you know, we are there. We can win. Everything depends by the way we approach the game. So I hope it's gonna be a strong performance. Like to say, okay, here we are ready for it.
Yeah. Not to go take one step back, but Brunello, like, how are you seeing like how he's playing the game? Can you see sort of any with your eye anything specific that you think he's trying to do?
A lot of knowledge in the areas like defense. They want to improve in that. You see the work they're trying to do. The attack with them, it's of course different, as we saw from the Italian under 20s. Quality, skill wise, much better. So you can play a different one. I don't want to say like they are traditional, but they are more consistent in the shapes. But they need those front foot to create those breaks in the on
so
the
you
wing.
think that's the missing ingredient, right?
Yeah, the one what I said before still stands, because you need that. Like,
cool.
or if you're not that team that strong but also can beat you every time in the 1-versus-1, which is something, for example, with a traditional shape Glasgow does. Glasgow, really traditional, Franco Smith. But they move so well and they run so well around shape on shape. Maybe ZEBRE'S less shape on shape in that way, but they don't have still that full quality.
So bringing it back to Benetton then. So did you think this was a coming of age in terms of how the attack is forming under Troncon? Do you think it's something where...
To be fair, it looked like for me still a pretty similar attack. The way they have some 2-3 phases attack from line out, which is the preference and the way you want to score. No, usually you score more tries from line out, even because you have more opportunities during the game, but also because you can manipulate really well the defense. It seems that Benetton we saw in a couple of last years.
Anglicized,
Anglicized, the 2-3 phases, yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you find the right line, as example, the line from Rhino Smith cutting a couple of times,
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful. Both
No,
times beautiful. Second
to,
time even more beautiful.
to be mad, to be like just a little bit kind of a CUNT, right?
Yeah, but he also, one thing that I love about him, and this is something that lacks generally, I think, in the Italian teams, is his timing is so good. Like his timing, even if the pass doesn't go to him, he's rarely overrun a pass. Like he always starts deep. He hits the gain line at pretty much full pace. He's bigger than he is. Do you know what I mean? He does more than what he should be able to do with the size that he does. So yeah, big fan of him.
I will read this so even our listeners on Spotify can they know what Lorenzo think about this. Zebre seems to have all the numbers to do well, but they miss continuity. This is the magic, what like the quest for continuity probably is the right thing for the Zebre. They do too good and then one costly error. They cannot keep the rhythm of play. That's
Lorenzo,
what Lorenzo says. Please. It is.
I'll add just to that, like to be specific, because Otto mentioned it earlier as well. Just in case you weren't on the pod whilst we were talking, but one thing, is the scramble defense. Like Zebre can retain possession, go through multi-phase, try and like slowly work their way up the field, but they may have a lapse in concentration, lose the ball, and all of a sudden it's kicked and they're 30-40 meters further back from where they are. So it's almost like it's not even 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's sometimes 1 step forward, 1 step back. So yeah, 100% agree with you, mate. And I think that only comes with experience, right? Like they need to understand the speed of play at this level. The young players need to adapt quickly, and the best teams adapt. So
on the other side, our dear friend Phantom, Rhino Smith is the only player that should have been capped and hasn't. The game was great, and he speaks a really good Italian, something that Phantom really loves when our foreign players learn Italian really quick, and he's one of them, actually. Absolutely.
Has he been capped for South Africa then? Like, what's the story here?
I think he could have, like, in a couple of years, he can be capped by Italy. I don't know. Phantom knows better. I don't remember what is the.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with what's coming through, but obviously he's a fantastic player.
So to come back to Benetton in general, we spoke about nines and urine. The other news from a few hours ago on Rugby Pass is the chance by Varney to join Vance in the top 14.
Good move.
Immediately, like right now. Good move for him. And Mike, I was checking before you said, my God, like Zebre, they had a really bad start. Talking about the games, right? The teams that you will play against.
Just couldn't have gone for a worse run to start off the season. Like poor,
man,
like bless them, they weren't best.
I looked at the Vance games this season, because I watch a couple of games. So they start with Stade Français. Then they won against Lyon. Oh, sorry. They start against Toulouse, Stade Français, Lyon, Toulon, Racing, and now they lost against Montpellier, Clermont. So they also Toulouse, Toulon, Stade Français to start, and Racing in the first 5 games of the season. It's pretty strong start. Right?
It's just a championship. It's just championship cup games. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
As a Gloucester fan, Mike, I would say that it's sadly to know that he's leaving. On the other side, as an Italian supporter, I'm really happy for him, because probably he will have more chances, because I have to mention Thomas Williams is playing great for and he's also worrying that Thomas Williams is playing good with Gareth Ascombe at 10. Because they're Welsh, so
yeah. I mean, obviously, we should expect a different Welsh team in the Six Nations. I think anyone who expects the Welsh to stay down for long they just don't really understand rugby. And
the other day against who we play against Bath. There is this action where you see the ball moving through Thomas Williams, back pass, and then Ascombe, Cleveland, Hathaway, all Welsh,
All Welsh. Yeah.
all Welsh. I mean,
Yeah.
it was crazy. We lost, sadly, the derby against Bath. 55 points scored by Bath.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Crazy bonkers game when it's like that.
It seems like you guys are starting to get there, though. I think.
Yeah, that's the point. The 9, Thomas Williams is playing really well. Is really physical. The way he attacks the line. We're kicking a little bit less, a lot of shape on shape, but seems a little bit better. What sucks is still the defense, as usual, but the attack is working well.
You only need a defense if the opponents can outscore you, mate. I think I've told you this a million times. That's the only time you need a defense. Which unfortunately they are at the moment. So yeah, you need a defense. Just a quick one though. I don't know if you heard. Obviously, Wasps potentially coming back next season in Kent. Apparently, they've got like a big stadium in Sevenoaks, which is just up the road. It's a big rugby hub. Kent, massive rugby hub. No representation. They're under the Queen's catchment. Really, really smart move because obviously it used to be London Wasps and now they're getting back into sort of the London area. So fingers crossed we might see Irish back. We might see Wasps back. And by the way, I'm not a Wasps fan, but I do like their stuff. And yeah, listen, we might start seeing sort of the rugby of old appear. The historic teams back in the Premiership, which I think everyone, whether you support English rugby or you don't, and we are URC focused, but it's always nice to see that those teams could be coming back, which is always good.
The good thing about Varney going to France as Nicolas is that there is more emphasis on a 9 running the show as opposed to 10s. That's true. A lot. Probably we're gonna start with Pagerello, I guess. The first game this winter, Mike.
And then who would you have as a second then? Fusco? Garbisi?
I will bring still Varney.
Even though he hasn't played?
Yeah.
Interesting. I actually, one thing, and I think Nicholas comes up with a really good point. I'm going to be really interested to see sort of how Varney develops because we know what he can do when there's a counter attack, and his support lines have always been brilliant, but he's been deployed at Gloucester as a box kick, very, very anglicized, scrum half. So to adapt to how potentially that he's going to be expected to play, that's going to benefit the Italian game first of all, because
of course more chaotic game style of play.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that is interesting.
So it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely, Mike. It's sad to let him live because it's been in Gloucester for years. And
it's the last Italian left, right?
Man, the last Italian. Wow, that's true. No more Italians in Gloucester.
Yeah, and there's no more Italians in the Premiership after then. Oh no, sorry, there's Vincent, isn't there?
There's Dino. And
Dino,
Vincent.
yeah, Dino. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
right.
Those 3 guys.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, but think about a few years ago, we used to have even Fischetti and Morisi there, which was crazy to think, right?
Yeah. Faiva's there as well.
Faiva,
he's been injured apparently again.
Yeah, and he. So.
Yeah. Silva. Yeah, I agree. I was also looking. So Silva just commented. I was hoping for Exeter Chiefs to look at him, given their situation at 9. I actually thought Quins would have been a really, really good slot in for Varney last season before they acquired some good options. To be honest, I thought that he just would have fit the game really nice with someone like Marcus Smith by his side. I thought it would have been beautiful for us.
Big speculation. It's been announced Euro 2028.
Mm-hmm.
And today they're speaking about Varney moving. Is it connected? Joking aside, just to
potentially.
A bit. Think
Yeah,
about
potentially. I think there was probably there's always going to be conversations with like the Italians and the Italians
I
abroad.
think
I
a
think.
couple of years ago it was really close to Benetton, but he didn't sign. It was something like that. But think about like a Varney in Benetton or Zebre would be a good option or not. Would have been now because seems like he's going
Yeah.
to Van. So
I think. Well, it
yeah,
depends.
that's the thing about the French. Don't see him speaking French at all, which isn't really good. Oui, I would say. Yep.
Otto, I'm going to be really honest with you. A few years ago, no, not a good idea because
We didn't
Albanese
see
didn't
that
even.
growing
Hey,
in his
yeah.
mind, let's say.
I think after Albanese
Albanese.
left, right? Potentially that would have been a good move for him. He would have had Didi there as a mentor. He would have started over Garbisino. Then obviously Sam Hidalgo Klein. I don't even know what that guy was doing there. He would have got game time there. He would have played over Casillo. Like that would have been the time for him to move to Benetton. But I think we're probably gonna cry Albanese for a little while. I think because he's the one that you were talking about. What ifs with Poledri? He's another one for me. I think.
No, I'm thinking more than everything about like how he's gonna turn this French experience for him because Van is probably let's say there's a lot of chances even if they're playing an interesting style of rugby to be relegated again or at least to fight for the playoff, and usually it's hard. So I'm wondering how we'll stick to that culture because then it's also a change of culture, and how long is going to be the contract. That is something because probably is a player that now he needs to have consistency, of course, performance, but consistent for 3 years because he wants to arrive really good to the for the World Cup cycle, right?
Maybe he plays for a year, and the long term is that he goes to somewhere in Italy, like maybe he goes to Benetton. Every rugby player wants to play rugby, right? I don't subscribe to a player that just wants to sit on his ass because obviously he devalues. It's like an asset just constantly devaluing. So I think whether he gets slightly less money but he gets guaranteed game time at Zebre, I could see that being a move in the not too distant future. So like you said, depending on the length of the contract and depending what he wants to get out of this experience, which is more important, then he could potentially make a move. And he's always got Benetton and Zebre because we know what he can do. He's a good player, just needs a bit of confidence.
On the Gloucester side, I'm wondering how Chapman will keep growing as an under 20 Scottish player. But Zebre cannot afford neither Drago. That's the point. Or Favretto, which is so Federation cannot afford those players. If
yeah, no, I understand, and I understand that point. But this is why I'm saying sort of a year, 2 years, because if Eduardo comes in with this all-encompassing plan that he's talking about, and maybe he does have a buyer lined up. Who knows? Like we're none the wiser, and this is all speculation. But who knows? Like a year, 2 is a long time, and fortunes can change very quickly in this sport. So, I'm all for the speculation. Like I said, it could we could see a very different Zebre in a few years' time. Who knows?
And I just mentioned Drago, so free people Drago. We want to see him playing as soon as possible. Hopefully he will play more. He's always there. And anyway, Mike, 59 minutes in, we should wrap up.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah.
So another great week. Let's see what we can do this weekend because here we go, free people. Yes.
Yes, Silver's got me laughing. Yeah, spot on. Free him.
Something Lapoelcan will love, but free people always because come on, we have there is Roberto, no? Let's keep Marina at 10, no? Lasciate Marina at 10, and Free Pippo is the second one, of course. So we need that. And good luck, Steven, if he will move. And hopefully we're gonna catch up with him soon to know much more. A friend of the podcast. So, Mike, thank you for the time. Thank you for everything. You're ready to listen the pod. Our next song.
Mate, yeah. Let's rock it. Go.
Should I do with this first?
Oh,
or no? Like
oh God. Oh no.
The quack.
Yeah.
Cool. Ok. Arrivederci a tutti.
Fratelli, the rugby
Buonanotte.
Ciao ciao.